Hey, brother sewing and crafting family, Angela Wolf here, and I've got a really fun tutorial for you today. So I'm going to show you how to pick a different, I guess what would you say, different fonts, get them into your machine, move them around, and particularly for graduation, a graduation gift. But I'm not graduating. So after I do this, I'm going to embroider a towel that has my boat name, With an Angel. So whatever you want to embroider, I'm going to teach you how to embroider towels, tips for hooping, ideas like that, how to cover up the stitches on the back, and then how to get those fonts in your machine. I'm going to be using the Luminaire. You can use any machine you want. And I'm also going to show you a few things on Artspira. So welcome, everyone. Say hi. Hope you're having a fabulous day. It is sunny, chilly in Michigan, but you know what? Time for the tank tops to come out, and then that makes me happy. I see you all rolling in. Hey, Wolfpack, how's it going? So it's been a little busy in the studio today. We have fabric everywhere. But before we do that, I have to show you this towel. So we were talking about graduation gifts. And we had May was on here with some cute ideas. There are a lot of fun things you could do for graduation. But I was thinking, because I live on the beach, not literally, but the beach is like half a mile down the road. How fun would it be to have a towel that says class of 2023 that you can use all summer, right? Maybe even longer than that if the towel lasts that long. But have you checked the price of some of the towels that have monograms on them? Yeah, crazy expensive, crazy expensive. So again, I'll be using the Luminaire. So I'll give you a few other things ideas, I should say. Remember the couch letters? I've got those to show you too. But today I want to show you ideas for bringing in fonts, moving them around, using what you have in your machine, no matter what brother machine you have. And then I will give you some tips. It is coming, Zena. I will give you some tips for embroidering. So if you've never been here before, say hi. You can see in the chat. We are live streaming on Brothers Sewing Facebook and YouTube channel. And let's see the towels I picked out. By the way, trying to find beach towels that aren't like for, I don't know, I found a bunch with itsy bitsy fish. Like I should say age, not age appropriate because a towel's a towel, but everything was geared towards like 5 and under. So it was really difficult to find a classy looking towel to turn into a beach towel. But I scanned the bath towels thinking, a lot of those are thick and they look great too. So that's what you see right there. 2 bath towels. I can't tell you where I bought them. It's not a brother product, but I think I paid $5 a piece. Whereas the beach towels were 20. And then if you want a beach towel with a monogram on it, we won't even talk about that. That's why you have a brother machine, right? So you can do it yourself. Oh, Kimberly got the NQ3600D. Great machine, great machine. Okay, Debbie, are you ready to go? All right, I'll take you guys over there. Let me just take this down. And I will come back and check your questions. I can't see them all exactly when I'm over there, so make sure if I don't answer that you just tell me them again. How's that? All right, sounds good. All right, let's go to the towel. So these are the 2 towels I found. Very classy looking. This just, for me, I love black and gray, but this just screams graduation towel or boat towel or whatever. It's a little thicker. It's not quite as fluffy as a regular bath towel. That's kind of how I determine the towels I would use at the pool or the beach, or even just that they take, to college with them. Or if they're graduating from college, maybe you would take it to your new home. So, or into your basement. The parents' basement. Is that how it's going? I'm just kidding. All right. So, and here's another one. So 2 different colors. So a couple things when you're doing the font, you have to decide what color you're going to use for thread. Because if I were to use, say, any of these exact colors, when I add the letters, that section would disappear. So you have a few different options. You can actually turn it into an applique and add a piece of fabric to the front. And then I would add a piece of fabric to the back. It could be anything as simple as just a piece of cotton even. Or if you find another towel, you could have maybe just like a white part of a towel showing through. That would be fine too. So any of those are ideas for you. Why did I say would you add it to the back? Well, once you embroider on here, the back side's going to show whatever you embroider. So keep that in mind. So one thing that I like to do is I will take just a piece of solid fabric. I will put it on the top of this towel, embroider my letters, and then do the applique after I slide a piece of fabric underneath. That way, when you do the applique, it will not only cover the front and the back. Does that make sense? Okay, so here is, by the way, this is not something I'm going to show you today, but those of you that have the Brother Luminaire 3 or with the 3 upgrade, you got these letters here, and this is in the master class. I showed you how to do this. There's also video tutorials on the machine. These are couch letters. So I just wanted to show you this because if you have that machine, this would look so cool, 2023 with yarn, right? I did a pink one with a few more letters. Just another idea for you. But today we're just going to be embroidering. All right, so let's go to the machine and let me give you some ideas on what fonts to choose because a couple things come to mind. If you use a font that's too thin, you're not going to be able to see it. Now, of course, if you use a piece of fabric over it as an applique, you'll see it a little bit better. But if you're embroidering just on the towel, you need a thick font. A matching washcloth, that would be a great idea for if the washcloth is big enough. Marianne, that's the one thing. It depends how big of a space. So as I was working on this earlier today, as I put in class of 2023, it gets pretty big. So you would need a big washcloth or piece it together a little bit. There are a lot of different ideas though. Oh yeah. Oh, you had fun with couching, Donna? Yeah, that's really fun. I know I had to share that because that's just a cool idea. All right, so let's go to the machine. If you see any shadows go by behind here, by the way, up here in my window, I put a bird feeder out there. I know, I just love the animals, but I think they're fighting over the food because they're nonstop flying back and forth. And I did put some nuts at the front door for Maxine, so if she shows up today, I'll be sure to clue you guys in. Okay, so let's just talk about a few things. Here's embroidery. Now, whatever machine you have, go into your fonts. A lot of the fonts I show you here, some of them you can actually purchase on iBroidery. Some of them you might have in your machine, a different variation of them. But I want to show you some that will and what won't work. So these are just standard fonts. If you go through here, look down here. I'll bring you in really close. I would not recommend using something like that. That's way too thin. It's not going to show. In fact, I prefer something, and these are really itty-bitty letters. Find something fairly thick. So this is number 13, 14, 15, 16. Any of those would be great for a towel. See these little thinner ones? Not so much. Every font has its purpose, but for a towel, you want something thick. Now, when I click on one of these, I'll bring you just a little bit. Can you all see that okay? So let's just say we're going to pick class. When I click on C, you can see the letter here. And depending on the machine you're using, you need to check down at the bottom. Are you using the large, medium, or small? And when on this machine, this is the Luminaire, when I click on this, it'll actually change the letter size. So let me take you back up here. I'm going to do this without you getting seasick. See, that's large, medium, and small. That's pretty tiny for a towel. You would never be able to read it. All the little fibers on the towel would come out and it would look like, what is that? No. So let's go to large. Okay. Let's just use this font for a minute. And let me show you how to piece together if you're just going to use a basic font. CLASS. That looks pretty fun. Okay. If I keep typing here, it's not going to all fit. I could always go to the next line and type of and then 2023, but then that's how it's going to show up on my hoop, and I don't want that. So there are a few different ways you can do this, but for the easiest way that I found, just check something. Yeah, no, that won't work. I love the array, but it won't array all the way around to the side. So I'm going to click set. And again, if you have the Luminaire, you might want to watch this whole thing and then you can go back and type in what I type in. There's class. Click edit. I'm going to click rotate 90 degrees. Oh, perfect. Now I can move it all the way down to the end. That's fine. I'm going to leave it there for now because there are different ways that I can use this to line up the other words. So there's class. Click OK. Now I'm going to click add. And let's go back to that font. Which one did we pick? Was it 16? Okay. Now the of. Do you want the of to be bigger or smaller? Well, why don't you just leave it the same? Because you can actually alter these letters when we go back to the other screen. And again, this is with the Luminaire. Click set. There it is. I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. It's on top of each other, but don't worry about that. I'll just move it here so you can see it. Click add. And depending on the size hoop you're using, you might have to do class and then of and then 2023. I'm going to see if I can fit the whole thing in there with this. All right, where's the numbers? 2023. Click set, edit, rotate 90 degrees. There you go. It's probably not how you're going to put it on the towel though, right? Click OK. Now, a couple little fun things if you have this on the Luminaire. And again, this is more of a tutorial type thing. So I know there's so many things our machines do that we don't realize. So if you're not using the Luminaire, then you'll want to embroider class and then of and then 2023 if you have a smaller hoop size. If I click on select all, see they're all selected, click OK. Click on align, and I want them all in the same row. So click there. And then do you want to move this around somewhere? Oops, I unclicked. That's so funny. Okay, I did not mean to do that. I unclicked them so they're not selected all together. Let's do that again. Select them all, click OK, click align, hit them in the center. But I want it in the center, so now I'm just going to move all of them at the same time. All right. So that looks like a mumbled mess, right? Not for long. Not to worry. Click OK. And now down here, you can click on select. Bring you down here just a little bit. As I select each one, click move. That's class. We want that to stay down there. That's of. We'll move that up a little bit. And now 2023. What I was trying to show you here, though, is that they're all aligned on that center line. And if you want to touch them, that's fine too, or just click select, and it's really easy to go through these and see what you have. There's my of. I don't want my of to be that big, so I'm going to move this down a little bit. And so this is just in the move section. All right, let's go to the of. When you click on edit, click size, and you have all these different options. Now, I can just go ahead and click medium and small on the screen really quickly and see what that looks like. The small is pretty small. The large is too large, and the medium is okay, but I'd like it a little bit bigger. So you still have these options here to make it just a little bit bigger. Or do you want it wider apart or taller? That looks pretty good. And I want this tinted. Tinted? Twisted. Twisted sister. All right, rotate. 10 degrees, 10 degrees. And this of is right in the center of my hoop. I can see that right there. So this is on the rotate section. Do you want to do a little bit more? Yeah, that looks pretty good. No, maybe not quite that much. So you can turn it up to 1 degree, 10 degrees, anything like that. Click OK. That looks pretty good, but I could move the 2023 a little bit closer together. So click on select, and I can see the red box around the 2023. Can you see that? There's a red box. I will click move. And I'll come over and take questions before I go to the next font. Uh, I clicked on move, so that was right here. Move. And squeeze that down. Oh, I accidentally hit the center button, which puts it right back in the center. That's okay. I'm just going to move it all the way back. And I could actually take this and move this with my finger too. If you don't like what you did, you can always go back to where you originally started. So that looks a little better. It's a little closer. And then let's go. I can see the of. Now the class. Let's move this a little closer together. And I think I can now fit this into my a little bit smaller hoop. My magnetic hoop is what I'm trying to say there. All right, click OK. I can select all of them and move them to the center of the hoop, just like that. So I click select all and that button and boom. So it's just so much more efficient. So that looks really good. Now it's only 1.26 inches. If you look right up here, (1.26 inches tall, 13.2 inches wide. So that'll fit into my magnetic hoop. But what if you want that a little taller? You want the letters a little taller? Let's see if we can change that. There's the 2023. Let's ungroup them. Click OK. There's the 2023. Click size. And then you see there's arrows that spread up and width. Now I've turned these around, so I think it'll be this one. See how tall that's getting? Now we're at 1.63 inches. Oh, wait, that's too wide. I don't want that. You can also make it wider. Just bring it back to where you had it. 1.63, 13.08. I like that. Let's just see if we can make it any taller. Oh, you hear that clicking? That means that's as tall as it's going to get. 1.89. So if I clicked on select, there's the of, there's the class, and let's do the same thing. Let's make it really tall. Click, click. That means that's as far as you're going to get. All right, and it looks like the 2023 could be moved down just a little bit. So I'm going to click select until I see the red box around 2023 and move this down. And you know, it's funny, when I talk to so many friends that have the Luminaire, they'll say, I don't know how to change all my fonts. And there's so many different ways you can do this. This is just one way. And that looks fantastic. I love it. So click OK. Now, if you decide you want to add an applique around the entire section, first thing I'm going to do is click memory and save this to my machine. I always save whatever I'm working on. If it's like, okay, you know what, I like this. I don't know if I'm going to want to go anyplace else. Save it. And that way I can always go back and bring just this up. So there's a few different ways you can add, if you decide you want to add a piece of fabric underneath, whether it's a solid towel or like Mary said, washcloth, whatever. This would be a pretty big washcloth. But you could use, maybe take another, maybe make a few of these towels, make them for all your friends if you're graduating, and grab one solid color towel and put underneath here. Then you could cut up the towel and use it for each one. You just want to make sure it's not super thick when you embroider on. All right, so a couple ways you can do this. Right here, this is your applique. So do you want to applique around everything? No, that looks pretty good, but wait, I don't want to just go around 2023. So let's go back. Let's click select all. That's select all. It's all in pink. Click OK. Oh, now you can't add the applique. So let's try that again. There is a way to do this. Well, but here's another way. This is one thing that I would do to add my piece of fabric. I'm going to add a box. Just a solid box like this. Click set. There's my box. And I can make this bigger or smaller. So the box is highlighted. Click edit. I'm making it longer. See if I can get it all the way around the letters. Just barely, just barely. So either I can make the letters closer together or embroider this in sections. Let's make it just a little bit smaller. I'm just checking something. I just want to see. I know there's a way to do this, but all right. Let's go to 2023, click size, make it just a little smaller. I'm using just that icon right there. I could also just squish the letters closer together. It's this one. There you go. See how they're coming a little closer together? And now let's go to class. There's of. Of shouldn't be a problem. Moving those a little closer together. Now I can move these. Okay, there's the of. And there's the 2023. Move that down a little bit. There. It just about fits in the box. Just about. We're almost there. All right, click OK. And that box is what I can use as an applique to embroider a piece of fabric on there. So, hold on 1 second. I hear a very large truck in my driveway. You never know what's going to happen in the studio when you're live, right? All right, so that's one way. Now, when you do this, if you're going to put a piece of fabric underneath, just a solid piece of fabric, say like a piece of muslin fabric, which I always tend to use, it's so easy to do, then you'll put that under, embroider your letters. You could even just sew around it if you wanted to. I mean, if you have like a big piece and you're like, you know what, this is not going to fit into my hoop, or you're using a machine that is not the Luminaire, and you're like, I can't do this whole font. I only have a 5x7 hoop. You're going to have to piece it together. Make sense? There you go. Yeah, Cindy King, an underlay on the lettering would work too. Or some of you guys have seen, you can put on your free motion foot and just slowly mat down the fabric before you add your embroidery. That's a technique that it's kind of fun to do. You can do it on your own if you don't know how to do that. So, hey, Vicki, I tried that. It would not, but I know it does. So I must have missed a step in there. All right, so there's more fonts I want to show you. Okay? All righty, let's go back over there because depending on the machine you have, or sometimes maybe you purchase fonts. I know iBroidery has some. Knockdown stitches. That's it, Cindy. The knockdown stitches. You all help me with my vocabulary a lot. All right, let's go back over here. Okay, back over to the edge. I'm just going to check this one more time. Yeah, so the applique is out of there. Now, one thing you can do is put an outline around all of this and bring it into my design center. And that's by clicking this button here. You can see it's not centered right now, but I can actually make this a little bit and bring that whole thing into my design center. I would definitely square off that box though. You really wouldn't need the box for that. Oh, you want to see that? Okay. Click select. Are we on? I just want to get to the box. Get rid of the box. We don't need the box for doing that. Click delete. Okay. All right. Now 2023 is highlighted. If I click select all, click OK, you can see the applique icon is not showing. Means you can't use it. If it's grayed out, you can't use it on here. But click this icon, and this puts an outline that you can bring into my design center. Make it bigger if you want. Can you see the outline going around this? I'm just clicking outside. It's making an entire outline section. So here's an idea for you. Speaking of what Cindy was just mentioning, if you want to put knockdown stitches, I can never remember that word, so thanks, Cindy. As I'm clicking plus, you see the distance? Do you see that outline getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Now, a lot of you have my design center, so just check, but this is on the luminaire. That looks pretty cool, right? So why don't we do knockdown stitches first in that section? So if I click memory, this will save it to the machine and recall it from my design center. So this was not part of my tutorial today, but why not? Let's go for it, right? Save this to your machine. I always like to save that so it's there. Let's go into my design center. No, don't recall the previous. That would have been one of my little niece's sketches. I don't think you want to see that. Well, I don't know. It's pretty cute. All right. So what do we have here? Oops, let's go in here. I think it's under the screen here. I haven't done this in a while, so I'll have to double check where to go in here. There we go. Right in here, see that same icon, the little flower? And what do you see? Everything I've been playing with. I've got my initial, Wynn's initial. We've been playing with Minnie Mouse, princesses, you name it. Bring this up, and what do you see there? The outline. That I'll bring you really close. Can you see that? The outline? Cindy, I'm so glad you mentioned this because why not add this to it instead of doing it by hand? All right, there you go. Now let's add that with a fill to make it nice and flat. I'm just going to use stipple stitches. Click the bucket. And here are your different stitches. You don't want a satin stitch. You're just trying to flatten the stitches. So you could use stipple or any of these right here. See if there's anything that's better. This would kind of look cool underneath too. Oh, I like that one. You just need something to keep the the fluffiness on the towel down. I'm teaching you all kinds of different language today, huh? The fluffiness. I kind of like these flowers. Those are cool. That's pretty dense right here. That would really push. Let's try that. Click OK. Let's make it red so you can see it. I'll make it pink. Now, when I touch inside of that, look what happens. So I could embroider that first. That would knock down all the stitches. You don't want that? Okay, then use stippling. Click OK. And it changes to stipple. The nice part, though, is now I can make that really dense. So let's go. Oh, okay, you want to use satin stitches? That's fine, too. There you go. And now that's going to be real thick satin stitches. I would not recommend that, though, personally. Let's go back to the stipple. And then when you go to next to do this, you have the option to make the stipple even tighter, more dense, anything like that. So you can see you have a lot of different options here. All right, click set. I'll embroider that in stipple. Wait, did I turn that into, I turned it into satin stitches. But anyways, you got the idea, right? So once that was finished, just so you can see what this would look like, go ahead and add your other design above it, which was here. Click set, and now look what you have. So you could have the underneath either stippled or however you decide to do that, and then this is how it would look on the towel. All right, so that was totally not part of the plan today, but that looks pretty darn cute, wouldn't you say? All right, now let me show you a few more before we run out of time. And then I'll show you how to give some tips for hooping. All right, if you go into embroidery, by the way, these are the couched letters. If you go under C, these are the ones I showed you on the towel. And those of you that have the luminaire, you're in the master class. All you have to do is register your machine, and I show you how to do those. All right, let's go back to these fonts here. There are a few in here that would look amazing on a towel. Now, something like this, if you look really close, I would probably turn this into somewhat of an applique as well. The A would look fine, but what do you see? A lot of these little extra, little itsy bitsy flowers. I'm not sure those would show up as well as you'd want it to on a big old towel like what we're using here. Okay. But if you look here, look at these. Now those are awesome. They're nice and thick, two-tone colors, this just screams graduation 2023. And if you scroll down on these letters, you'll see there's big letters at the top, lowercase letters, or I should say capitals, lowercase, and then the numbers are way down here. So let's just see, 20. Yeah, those look pretty cool. And then what does a 3 look like? Yeah, pretty cool. So let's go with the 2. And I think you're only going to be able to embroider 2 of these at a time. They're pretty big. So as you can see, you can just keep going back, clicking add, or if you just have one hoop, that's fine too. So I've got 2 things here. Let's click select all. Rotate 90 degrees. I guess I didn't select all. And then you can use these arrows down here to move these around. Are you seeing all the different options that you have? And the nice part is when you're doing this, now this would look really cool, 2023. When you go to do this, if you click on one of these, click size, it'll tell you if you can make it smaller or larger. Now in the Luminaire, see this icon right here? This will keep the density of your stitch instead of just making it bigger. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. It was a wasteful thing to rotate it first. Look at how big that will get. And look at how small that will get. Yeah, I'm using my fingers. But you can also just use the screen. So here is bigger all the way. See how big this will get. Wow, that's like 8 by 11. You could take up the whole towel if you wanted to. And then smaller. How small can she go? That's pretty small. And that looks really nice. Now, if you did something like that, you could totally fit all that onto a towel. So if I click edit, rotate 90 degrees. Did I pick the right? That looks like a 6. Did I pick the right letter? Yes, I do have my glasses on. All right, let's click add. Again, the same thing. A lot of these are so much fun. Ooh, did you see these? If you're graduating from college, those would be pretty cool. You can turn those into applique. All the sorority signs. All right. That one's a pretty good one too. I've done this one on the towels for the boat, just to show you how big they are. See how big that is? They're beautiful. All right, squirrel. Let's go down here and see if we can find. It just didn't look like a 0. Maybe it was. Yeah, it is a 0. It just has like a little. There's the 6. Click set. Let's click edit, size, squish that all the way down as far as it'll go. Now, wait a minute. Why is it not getting as small? Because I forgot to hit the density. Click the density. I don't know if that's technically the term for it, but there's a word for it. There. And now click edit, rotate to the left. For the 2, we can just duplicate that. 2023, and then click add. Are you getting the hang of finding stuff in here, moving it around, taking the fonts? Well, if you see the price of putting fonts onto any item, this is way worth it. So I'm going to click edit, size, click the density. I knew it would move it back over there. There you go. Edit, rotate to the left. All right. Now those are not, let's just say none of them are in order. So select all. Click OK. Click align. And how do you want these? Let's line them all up in the center. Perfect. Click OK. And then if you want to move them, you can select each one and just move them where you want. Where do you want these? You want to start way down at the bottom of the hoop? That looks pretty good. Click OK, select all, and then move them all right to the center. Perfect. That looks great. As you can see, there's a lot of different options here as well that you can still do. You could add stippling to the outside, but since we're putting this on a towel, I think you're pretty good there. And again, you can do that same thing that we just showed, where if you want to send this to my design center to create those knockdown stitches. Oh, it went around each one. That's fine. Just go like this. And you can see these little black marks around the numbers getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. You can see that number right there getting larger. It's kind of like watching grass grow, but a little more fun. See how it's filling up? It's still getting larger and larger and larger. I'm getting all the way around the 2023. And maybe you want to stop there. Maybe you want just the knockdown stitches to be just in that area, or do you want it to keep going so you have almost like a full section, a full outline? See, that one disappeared, and now this one's getting smaller. Pretty soon it'll be around all of the numbers. There you go. Click memory. And now you have that saved for my design center. A lot of fun ideas. Now let's talk about hooping, because regardless of what machine you have, hooping is a really important thing. Oh, Joan, I'm so excited to hear that. Gives you the courage. Well, you should play around, because you know what? Sometimes, even when you maybe have the Luminaire 1 and you've gotten the upgrades, but you haven't had time to learn how to use them, there's so many different things that you can do. And then also, if you have my design center, you have a lot of options to take these letters and do something fun. Now, do you have to do a graduation towel? No, this is more of a tutorial on fonts, but for letters. Yeah, thanks, Kim. I thought that was super cute too. I don't know. You know, one of the girls that sews with me on Tuesdays, you all know the group of girls that come here, she's graduating this year, but she really wants a burgundy towel, and I could not find a burgundy towel. So I'm still going to search, but I have to say that that last group of letters that we did with the two-tone, I could do burgundy and white or something like that on a solid color towel maybe. I don't know. I have to surprise her though. I think she's at school right now, so she can't see this. Yeah, Ivy, that would be fun. Julianne, no, I'm just going to use I'm just going to use the stippling and make it really tight to knock down those stitches. You can also do it in software. Go to your software if you use software, but this is more of a tutorial just with the machine. And then, like I mentioned, I always like to give tips in case you don't have the Luminaire. I know a ton of you have other brother machines that you're like, you might be drooling over this, but you have great things too. So if you put your quilting foot on, free motion foot, I should say, and kind of give yourself an outline, you can just slowly free motion over the towel and it will mat down all the stitches. Yeah. Okay. Making sure I'm not missing anything before we go to the hoop. Jody, your Dream Machine has my design center, so you can do some of this. You might not have all those fonts though. Jane, I love my design center. Oh, Linda, I'm so glad. Okay, now let's go to hooping, because for those of you that are like, wait, I want my towels here ready. What am I supposed to do with this? A couple tips for you. Let's go back over here. Now, I have an entire roll of water-soluble topper, and I can't find it anywhere. So I will walk you through it and explain it. And I'll just put the bottom on of the stabilizer. But I usually put water-soluble topping on the top. And I have a roll this big, and I can't find it. I'll find it as soon as we're not live. All right, so you can visit your local brother dealer and buy some Brother Pace Setter, medium weight tearaway stabilizer. All right. Which one do you want to do first? The black? Well, I'm not going to embroider this with you here, so I'll just have to send you a picture, because I think that last set of letters takes, hold on, 45 minutes. So unless you want to hang out with me all day, which I can't do that because I've got a fabric stash sale coming up here in just a little bit. All right. I'll show you both. I'll show you with the magnetic frame, and then I'll also show you with a 5x7 hoop because I know some of you have that. I've already taken the magnets off. I didn't think you needed to see all of that. In fact, I'll turn this sideways here. These magnets stick to everything. Okay. I'm just going to make this big enough, or I should say you should just make this big enough. You always want your stabilizer to be an inch, at least an inch outside of your hoop. Okay. Now, this is not sticky back. This is tearaway. You can use sticky back. You know I'm a sticky back freak, and I love it. But why? Because I can actually hoop this just fine this way. So the one thing I want to do, oops, I think I have one more. I missed a magnet. Bring this up here just so you can see all this. All right, I'm getting these out of the way. That's what I should look in. I have laundry bins underneath all of my workstations. That's probably where I threw the stabilizer. It looks neater than throwing it on the floor. But then I can't find anything. All right. If I line this up, see where my center is here. See if I can line this up. I'll move this way for you. Oop, without getting you seasick. Now there, you might have like a fancy mat or something that shows you where the center is. But if you just have a cutting board, like I have here, I'm lining up these screws. Center, center. And center. All right, so now I have my towel. Let's put this back down. Take your towel, fold it in half. Where do you want those letters? Well, you probably don't want them right at the end. You want them up a little bit. So figure that out. I'm just going to hoop this where I just barely capture the bottom. So take the center. Can you see that just barely through there? That solid line? You could also draw a line on your stabilizer, but then if your stabilizer moves, you're kind of in trouble. My hoop's not moving at all. And you might have one of the other Brother magnetic hoops. These are fantastic for thicker fabrics like a towel. Here we go. And now let's just open this up. All right. Now, one more thing. If you have a fancy machine like the Luminaire, I could mark the exact center here where I want those letters. I could do it with chalk. And then when I do the projector, I can see exactly where the letters are going to go. If you don't have that, you have other options. You might have a little plastic sheet that goes over your hoop where you can see where the center is and mark it. That's what I have on my SE2000. So, and that uses a 5x7 hoop. So again, same thing that we're doing here, except if you're using a 5x7 hoop, you would do this and you would want to, how big can you fit 2 letters in here or how many letters? And then you would hoop individually. Again, doing the same exact thing where you have stabilizer below. Now for the magnetic hoop, if you haven't used this yet, and they have these in a ton of different sizes, so check with your Brother dealer if your machine, you don't have to have the Luminaire for it. This is where these will connect to. So you have a big one for this side. Snap that in place. And let's see, big one for this side. Big one for the end. And slide this down a little bit. The nice part of these, check that the arrows are facing towards the inside, not towards the outside. Make sure you're putting them on right. Slide this down. If you don't like where that went, just, let's say I put this down. Oh, no, I want this closer. Just take it off. The one thing you want to make sure is wherever, let's see, which side is the hoop? let me just point one thing out. This is going to go into the machine there, and you just want to make sure there's enough room in this corner to slide your foot. You want your foot to be able to fit through there. I've done this before where I have these way too close together and then I can't get that through. So just keep that in mind. All right, it's looking nice and flat. Now look at this. Do you remember what a pain in a tush it used to be to hoop? Did I lose one of my magnets? Nope, it's right here. Towels, I would only use sticky back because this was just, when you're using something like this, it's a little more challenging. Now, if you're using the 5x7 hoop or any standard hoop, make sure you open this quite a ways so you can get that towel in there. You just don't want hoop burn. Towels are pretty resilient, but not always. All right, that looks great. Now, if you had a piece of water-soluble topper, which is just a thin piece of stabilizer, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before. I just used it, so I'll find it in a bin here somewhere. I usually put that over the top. Why? Number one, it will prevent your embroidery foot from getting stuck on all these little nubbies, especially if your towel has more fluff. Okay? But I don't have it, so, but what I would do is I would just place it on top. You don't hoop it, you place it on top. Usually I put a couple pieces of tape down below and we're good to go. So let me just show you one last thing here. If you have the luminaire, because I know a lot of you watching do, and you're just getting used to using it. Aloha, Linda. Thanks for joining. Oh, Charlotte, you have the smaller hoop. Which one do you have, by the way? I'm just curious. That's what I use, Jody, is the clear water soluble topper. Yep, the one that I can't find. Oh, Julie, that's a great machine. And Susie, by the way, the Dream Machine is also awesome. All right, back to the machine. I'm not going to embroider this right now because I cannot find my topper, but I want to just show you how this will look. So again, I'm gonna slide all of my towel out of the way. This is the part I was talking about. You just want to make sure that these two pieces aren't so close together that you can't get this on. Slide this onto your machine. All right, let's see. Make sure all of this lays flat. Oh, that looks wonderful. All right, somebody send me a piece of stabilizer. I could start this project. Click OK. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use these colors on here, but I want to show you how to do the projector real quick. And those of you that have the Dream Machine, you can scan your machine and see the same thing. So in here, click Projector. And if you look really close, you can just barely see some of this. Like, I can't see that very well. So on the bottom of your machine, right here, you have different colors. And when you click those, it'll show up different on the towel. So let's go back over to the towel, and it might show like a little rainbow section here. So this is the darkest. There's the medium dark, and there's the white, which I can see that a little better. And if I move the red box up, I can see there's the 3. And where's the center? There's the center. So you have to look closely, but it's a little tricky on the stripes. Here, just so you can see what I'm talking about, why don't you just look at, I'll put a piece of solid fabric on there. Because this is really a great way to audition where your letters are. You see, that's the end of your towel, right? All right. I'm only putting this here so you can see the letters. So when I look at that, I think, wait, I'd like all these letters. Let's see, where does the beginning start? Way down here. So just so you know, for those of you that are newbies, this is the red box. As I move it around, that's when everything moves around and I can see where the letters or the numbers are. Again, down here is where I change colors. White, gray, black. And this is what happens over here. white, gray, black. They have that because depending on what color fabric you're using, you want to be able to see. So I can see now the two-tone color. That's where this is going to be. If I want the entire section of numbers to move closer this way or that way, go under here. I'm already in the embroidery screen, so you won't have a lot of options, but you can click move and then just slide the arrow, or you can touch your hand and go this way. And as I do that, the hoop will move, and I can also do the projector again. Now I know that it can't go any further this way because I have the beep. So now when I click on the projector, click OK. Oops. Get this out of the way. Now I can see, let's see, where are the numbers now? See how much closer they are now to the edge of the towel? And that's it. Put your water-soluble topper on there and embroider away. By the way, I love that My Design Center. I cannot believe I didn't even think about that as we were all sitting here chatting about that. So thank you. I always love hanging out with all of you because so many of you have so many of the different machines and you have so many great ideas. All right, any questions for me before I go? Hey, Jolyn. Well, yes, but I know you have a good machine too, so maybe it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It still has a lot of great things. Tammy, I'm using the Luminaire 3 or the Luminaire with the upgrade to the 3. So either of those would work. And then a lot of the techniques I showed you, though, check your brother machine because my SE200 or 2000, I can turn the letters, I can twist them. One more thing before I let you go, though. I have to show you all this thing here. Hold on. In case you have forgotten about the Artspira app, I went through here because I was thinking, ooh, I wonder if they have any graduation stuff. And guess what? They do. So if you haven't downloaded the Artspira app, be sure to do that. And then here, type in graduation. I can't do that backwards. Graduation, click search. And look what comes up. These are totally free. So you just need a brother machine with Wi-Fi to be able to use these. But look at how cute these are. Happy graduation. Looks like that's a 2 and 8 by, this would be super cute on napkins. All you have to do is click create, send it to the machine you want to go to. So I just click transfer. And let's go see if it transferred. Back over here. I'm not going to embroider these letters right now, so I'll just click on home, get rid of that. My Design Center? No, I'm sorry. Embroidery. All these things to remember. Go to embroidery. There's the pocket with a cloud. And there it is. Look how cute that is. Perfect. So you can add that to anything as well, that quickly. And that's totally free if you have a brother machine with Wi-Fi. Okay. Well, I think that was a lot of tutorial. And yes, you can go back and watch this later. All you have to do is, if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. You'll never miss a live show. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday now at noon. And if you want to go back and watch this one, just come back and go under the live videos. So when you go to Brother Sews, I think it's the third or fourth topic at the top. It'll say videos, some shorts, something else, and then lives. And you come back and watch. This is episode 341, Graduation Tells. Anything else? Hey, Vicki, I haven't embroidered those up, so I'll post a photo. Oh, Julie, yes, you have My Design Snap. That's super fun to use. Any questions for me? Cindy, do you do a trace to make sure you don't hit the hoop? Well, I already went into the Luminaire and told them what hoop I'm using. I did that before I went live. So just so you know, the Luminaire knows exactly what hoop I'm using, which is why it wouldn't let it go any bigger. So I do not need to do that. But you could if you wanted to. Oh, Linda, that sounds fantastic. Teresa, I would use a number 12 or 14 on the towel. 12 or 14 is fine. I usually start with a 12 if I have problems, then I'll switch to the 14. Yeah, Evelyn, you can art the letters. One click of the button. I'll have to add that to another show because we are totally out of time. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. I see somebody else asking Needles Phyllis. 12 or 14 should work. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. And again, I will see some of you in the Angela Wolf Patterns group here shortly. If you have a great project, don't forget to add to Brother Sewing. Use hashtag Brother Sews. Hi, girls. The team is here. We have to go. Zena, I will see you soon along with everyone else. And if you're looking for me or for Brother, here is the website. Make sure I have this. Brother Sews, that's how you get to the blogs for sewing or crafting. And if you're looking for me, angelawolf.com. I always love to hear from you. And all of you that have a Luminaire XP3, don't forget to register your machine so you get access to the Luminaire class for free and you'll learn how to couch letters. Or you can watch the video on the machine. Thanks so much, everyone. See you next week.